Buddhism teaches us that suffering often stems from our habits, attachments, and lack of mindfulness. When it comes to money, many people unknowingly hold on to behaviors that sabotage their financial well-being. By understanding and correcting these habits, you can break free from the cycle of stress and poverty and live a more balanced, prosperous life. Here are 5 habits based on Buddhist principles that might be secretly keeping you poor. Living beyond your means. Living beyond your means is one of the most common yet overlooked habits that can keep people trapped in financial struggle. At its core, this behavior stems from a deep sense of dissatisfaction or craving, which Buddhist teachings recognize as a source of suffering. In today's modern world, it's easy to feel pressure to keep up with societal expectations, whether that's owning the latest gadgets, upgrading your car, or living in a home larger than what you need. Advertising and social media amplify this desire, making it feel as though happiness is always one purchase away. But the reality is that constantly spending more than you earn creates a cycle of stress, debt, and unhappiness that is difficult to escape. Buddhism encourages us to reflect on our attachments and cravings. When we live beyond our means, we often do so to fulfill emotional needs, seeking validation, comfort, or a sense of identity. We may justify unnecessary spending as a reward for hard work or as a way to feel better about life's challenges. However, this approach rarely provides lasting satisfaction. Instead, it creates temporary pleasure while deepening financial instability. Over time, the debt accumulated from overspending adds a significant burden, not just to your finances, but also to your mental well-being. The pressure of repaying loans, managing credit card balances, and covering everyday expenses can leave you feeling trapped and powerless. The Buddhist principle of contentment offers a practical antidote to this habit. True contentment does not come from material possessions, but from appreciating and finding satisfaction in what you already have. When you live with an attitude of contentment, you can break free from the endless pursuit of more and focus on what truly matters in life. This doesn't mean denying yourself all comforts, but rather being intentional and mindful about your needs and desires. For instance, consider whether a purchase will genuinely add value to your life, or if it's simply a response to societal pressures or momentary cravings. Practicing mindfulness can help you become more aware of your spending habits. Mindfulness is the act of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Before making a purchase, pause and reflect. Do I really need this? Can I afford it? How will this decision impact my financial goals? This small moment of reflection can create a significant shift in how you relate to money. By being more intentional with your spending, you can avoid unnecessary expenses and prioritize the things that truly bring you joy and fulfillment. Over time, this mindful approach allows you to save more, invest in your future, and live a life free from financial stress. Living within your means also requires a sense of discipline, which is another core principle in Buddhism. Discipline is not about restriction, but about making choices that align with your values and long-term goals. It involves creating a realistic budget and sticking to it, even when temptations arise. For example, instead of dining out multiple times a week, you might choose to cook at home and save the extra money. Small sacrifices like these can add up significantly over time, allowing you to build a financial safety net and invest in opportunities that improve your life. It's important to recognize that living within your means is not a limitation, but a path to freedom. When you spend less than you earn, you regain control over your finances and your life. You are no longer dependent on debt or trapped by the anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck. This financial freedom provides space to focus on personal growth, pursue meaningful goals, and experience a deeper sense of peace. By aligning your spending with your needs rather than your cravings, you free yourself from the cycle of dissatisfaction that keeps so many people stuck. Another critical aspect of living within your means is distinguishing between needs and wants. In a consumer-driven culture, the line between the two can often feel blurred. Needs are the essentials that sustain your life, such as food, housing, and healthcare. Wants, on the other hand, are the extras, things that bring temporary pleasure but are not necessary for survival. Practicing simplicity, as taught in Buddhism, can help you recognize what is truly essential. Simplifying your life allows you to let go of excess and focus on what brings you genuine happiness. It's worth noting that financial struggles are not always a result of poor choices. Life often brings unexpected challenges, such as job loss, medical emergencies, or economic downturns. However, by consistently living within your means during stable times, you can create a financial cushion that provides security during periods of uncertainty. This approach aligns with the Buddhist teaching of impermanence, the understanding that all things, including wealth and comfort, are subject to change. Preparing for the future while living simply in the present allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with greater ease. Many people underestimate the emotional benefits of living within their means. When you are not weighed down by financial stress, you experience greater clarity, peace, and freedom. This state of mind enables you to focus on relationships, personal growth, and experiences that enrich your life. Financial stability also fosters gratitude, as you learn to appreciate what you have rather than constantly striving for more. Gratitude is a powerful force that shifts your perspective and deepens your sense of fulfillment. In the end, living within your means is about aligning your external habits with your internal values. It requires mindfulness, contentment, and discipline, but the rewards are profound. By breaking free from the cycle of overspending, you can achieve both financial and emotional freedom. You begin to realize that true wealth is not measured by the things you own, but by the peace and contentment you feel in your daily life. Next, lack of discipline. A lack of discipline is one of the primary reasons many people struggle to build financial stability. In Buddhism, discipline is seen as a fundamental aspect of cultivating a happy and meaningful life. Without discipline, the mind becomes restless and constantly seeks short-term pleasures, often leading to impulsive decisions that create long-term suffering. This lack of self-control in personal finance manifests in ways such as overspending, failing to save, and neglecting to budget properly. People often fall into the trap of chasing instant gratification, which erodes their ability to focus on bigger, more important goals that require patience and persistence. Financial well-being is not an overnight achievement. It requires steady, consistent habits that reflect discipline and intentionality. For example, many individuals struggle to save money because they believe they don't have enough left over after expenses. In reality, the issue often lies not in a lack of income, but in a lack of planning and control. Without discipline, they prioritize spending on non-essential items like entertainment, eating out, or shopping, believing these purchases provide comfort or happiness. However, as these expenses add up over time, they leave little room to save for emergencies, retirement, or other financial goals. Buddhist teachings emphasize that happiness does not come from external possessions or fleeting pleasures, but from contentment and inner peace. By learning to let go of unnecessary cravings, individuals can make better financial choices that align with their true needs and priorities. Discipline also plays a crucial role in budgeting, a task many people avoid because they see it as restrictive or tedious. In reality, budgeting is about understanding your financial resources and directing them toward what truly matters. It is an act of mindful awareness and self-control. Just as meditation helps bring awareness to your thoughts and actions, creating and following a budget brings awareness to your spending patterns. Through this awareness, you can identify areas where you waste money and redirect those funds towards savings or investments. Without this discipline, money often slips through your fingers unnoticed, leaving you frustrated and wondering where it all went. The discipline to save regularly, even in small amounts, is another critical financial habit that many people neglect. They tell themselves they will start saving someday when they have more money, but that day rarely comes. Buddhist wisdom teaches that life is uncertain, and waiting for the perfect time to act can lead to missed opportunities. Developing the habit of saving requires consistency and commitment, no matter how small the amount. Over time, these small efforts compound into significant progress, providing both financial security and peace of mind. When you save, you are not just accumulating money, you are also building discipline, self-respect, and confidence in your ability to take care of yourself and your loved ones. Furthermore, discipline is essential when it comes to managing debt. Many people fall into the trap of borrowing money to satisfy immediate desires without considering the long-term consequences. Credit cards, loans, and buy now, pay later schemes can create an illusion of financial freedom, but in reality, they often lead to a cycle of dependency and stress. Without discipline, people continue borrowing and delaying repayments, which causes interest to grow and debt to spiral out of control. Buddhist teachings encourage us to face reality with honesty and take responsibility for our actions. Developing the discipline to live within your means, reduce unnecessary borrowing, and pay off debt systematically can help you break free from the burden of financial stress. In addition to saving and debt management, discipline is also required when it comes to building wealth through investments. Many people shy away from investing because it requires patience and long-term thinking. They may seek quick returns or avoid investing altogether out of fear of losing money. However, disciplined investing is about staying consistent, even when progress seems slow or uncertain. Buddhist principles teach the value of perseverance and trusting the process. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, wealth grows through small, regular contributions and the power of compounding. By staying disciplined and focused on your long-term goals, you can build financial stability and freedom over time. Discipline also helps combat the influence of external pressures and societal expectations. Many people spend money to keep up appearances or impress others, even when it causes financial strain. They buy expensive clothes, cars, or gadgets, not because they truly need or want them, but because they feel pressured to fit in or prove their worth. This habit is rooted in attachment and ego, which Buddhism teaches are sources of suffering. True freedom comes from letting go of the need for validation and finding contentment within yourself. Developing the discipline to prioritize your financial goals over societal expectations can help you break free from this cycle and create a life that aligns with your values. Another area where discipline is essential is in building habits that support financial growth and stability, whether it's tracking your expenses, reviewing your financial goals, or learning about personal finance. These habits require consistency and effort. Many people lack the discipline to stick with these routines because they seem time-consuming or difficult at first. However, as with any practice, the more you commit to it, the easier and more rewarding it becomes over time. In Buddhism, the concept of right effort encourages us to cultivate wholesome habits and let go of unwholesome ones. By applying this principle to your financial life, you can develop habits that lead to greater peace, security, and success. It's important to understand that discipline does not mean depriving yourself or living a life of austerity. Rather, it is about making intentional choices that align with your values and goals. Discipline allows you to strike a balance between enjoying the present moment and planning for the future. It helps you resist impulsive decisions that offer temporary pleasure but create long-term suffering. In this way, financial discipline becomes an act of self-care and self-respect, empowering you to take control of your life and create the freedom to pursue what truly matters. Ultimately, a lack of discipline keeps many people trapped in a cycle of financial stress and unfulfilled potential. By cultivating discipline in your thoughts, actions, and financial habits, you can break free from this cycle and build a life of stability, peace, and purpose. As Buddhist teachings remind us, a disciplined mind is a powerful tool that can lead to true happiness and fulfillment. Whether it's saving, budgeting, managing debt, or investing, developing financial discipline is one of the most important steps you can take toward achieving lasting prosperity. Overindulgence in comfort. Spending too much on temporary comforts can quietly drain your finances while offering only fleeting satisfaction. In Buddhism, the concept of craving, or tanha, describes our constant desire for pleasure, comfort, and material goods. This craving often leads us to make impulsive decisions, choosing short-term happiness at the expense of long-term stability. Whether it's indulging in frequent meals at expensive restaurants, buying unnecessary luxury items, or spending excessively on entertainment, these habits can become a cycle that keeps you trapped in financial stress. The more we seek to soothe discomfort or boredom with quick fixes, the more we reinforce patterns that harm our future well-being. The problem lies in the way these small indulgences add up over time. A coffee here, a streaming subscription there, or an impulse purchase may seem insignificant in the moment, but collectively, these expenses erode your financial resources. Buddhism reminds us that unchecked desires are like a fire. They grow larger and hungrier the more we feed them. Modern consumer culture thrives on encouraging this constant craving, making us believe that happiness lies in the next purchase or experience. However, this approach is unsustainable and often leaves us feeling empty, with little to show for the money we've spent. To overcome this habit, it's important to become aware of why we seek out these comforts. Are we spending to fill an emotional void, relieve stress, or keep up with others? Buddhism encourages us to look inward and observe these cravings without judgment. By understanding the root causes of our actions, we can make more mindful decisions about how we spend our money. Instead of succumbing to the impulse to seek comfort in material things, we can focus on finding peace and contentment in simpler, more sustainable ways, like building relationships, pursuing personal growth, or practicing gratitude for what we already have. Cultivating a sense of discipline is essential to breaking free from the habit of overindulgence. This doesn't mean eliminating all pleasures or comforts from your life, but rather being intentional and balanced. Occasional treats are perfectly fine when they align with your priorities and values. The key is to recognize when spending becomes excessive or unnecessary, and to redirect those resources toward more meaningful goals. For example, saving for a home, investing in education, or preparing for emergencies will provide you with far more security and happiness than momentary pleasures ever could. Ultimately, overindulgence in comfort is not just a financial issue, but a spiritual one as well. It disconnects us from our ability to be content with the present moment and creates dependency on external sources for happiness. By choosing mindfulness and moderation, we free ourselves from the endless pursuit of pleasure and regain control over our lives. The more we simplify and focus on what truly matters, the closer we get to achieving not just financial stability, but also a life of deeper fulfillment and peace. Next, postponement. Postponement is one of the most harmful habits when it comes to financial well-being, yet it's often overlooked because it feels harmless in the moment. Buddhism teaches us that time is precious, and assuming we will always have more of it is a delusion. People tend to put off important financial decisions like saving, investing, or paying off debts, thinking they will handle it later. Unfortunately, this later rarely comes, and the longer we wait, the worse the problem becomes. The habit of postponing financial responsibilities allows problems to snowball, making them harder to manage and increasing stress over time. For example, delaying the start of a savings plan can have long-term consequences. Money has the power to grow through compound interest, but this growth depends on time. The earlier you start, the less effort it takes to reach your financial goals. Someone who begins saving even a small amount in their 20s will likely accumulate far more wealth than someone who waits until their 40s, even if the latter saves at a higher rate. The opportunity cost of waiting can be significant, yet procrastination makes us blind to these long-term impacts. The same principle applies to paying off debts. Waiting only increases the interest you owe, making the burden heavier. At the root of procrastination is often a sense of avoidance or fear. Many people feel overwhelmed by their financial situation and avoid addressing it altogether. They may believe that looking at their debts, creating a budget, or learning about investments will be too uncomfortable, so they postpone it indefinitely. This avoidance, however, doesn't make the problem disappear. It simply compounds it. In Buddhism, facing our reality with clarity and courage is essential to overcoming suffering. By confronting financial fears head-on, you begin to gain control over the situation instead of allowing it to control you. Another issue with procrastination is its deceptive nature. Unlike other habits, which are clearly visible, procrastination is subtle and easy to justify. You might tell yourself you'll start saving when you get a raise, pay off debt when you have extra money, or learn about investing when you're less busy. These excuses may feel logical, but they create an endless cycle of inaction. Buddhism teaches that impermanence is a fundamental truth of life. There's no guarantee of a perfect time to act. The present moment is the only one we truly have, and it's where we must begin. The solution to overcoming procrastination lies in taking small, consistent actions. Instead of waiting for a perfect plan or significant resources, start with whatever you have right now. Open a savings account, pay a little extra toward your debt, or educate yourself about personal finance for even a few minutes a day. Small steps build momentum, and as you see progress, your confidence and discipline will grow. By choosing to act now instead of waiting, you align yourself with the Buddhist principle of mindfulness and present moment awareness. Procrastination loses its grip, and you regain control of your financial future. Mindfulness is one of the core principles of Buddhism, often described as the ability to be fully present and aware of what is happening in the moment. When applied to personal finances, mindfulness can mean paying close attention to how you earn, spend, and save money. Unfortunately, many people fall into the habit of spending unconsciously, unaware of where their money is going. They swipe credit cards, make impulse purchases, or subscribe to services they don't need without a second thought. Over time, this lack of awareness can create financial instability, debt, and stress. Practicing financial mindfulness begins with observing your current habits without judgment. Take note of how you feel when you spend money. Do you feel anxious, excited, or indifferent? Many people use spending as a way to cope with emotions like boredom, stress, or sadness, which can result in unnecessary purchases. By being mindful of these triggers, you can begin to pause before spending and ask yourself whether the expense aligns with your true needs or values. This simple act of pausing can help you avoid impulsive decisions that derail your financial goals. Tracking your finances is another powerful way to cultivate mindfulness. Keeping a record of where every dollar goes allows you to see patterns in your spending that you may not have noticed before. For example, small daily purchases like coffee or takeout may seem harmless, but when added up over a month or year, they can amount to a significant sum. Awareness of these patterns helps you make more intentional choices about where your money should go, directing it toward things that truly add value to your life. Mindfulness also encourages us to live in the present moment rather than fixating on what we don't have. Many people fall into the trap of constantly desiring more money, more possessions, or a higher status, believing these will bring happiness. However, as Buddhism teaches, clinging to these desires only creates suffering and dissatisfaction. By practicing gratitude for what you already have, you reduce the urge to overspend and feel more content with your current financial situation. This shift in perspective allows you to save and invest for the future rather than wasting resources on unnecessary purchases. Finally, financial mindfulness is about aligning your money habits with your values and goals. Instead of spending mindlessly, you begin to allocate your resources to things that bring you genuine fulfillment, such as education, experiences, or helping others. This approach not only helps you manage your money better, but also fosters a sense of purpose and balance in your life. By practicing awareness and intentionality in your financial decisions, you can break free from the cycle of unconscious spending and build a future that is both prosperous and meaningful. The teachings of Buddhism emphasize awareness, discipline, and contentment as keys to reducing suffering. By recognizing and correcting these 5 habits, you can achieve not only financial stability, but also a life of greater peace and fulfillment. Start small, act mindfully, and watch your relationship with money transform.